Hey Islanders, welcome to today's interview. And today I am doing an interview with the Woodland High School's very own English 3 teacher, Mr. Humeniuk.
How's it going, guys?
Mr. Humeniuk.
Do I have to talk in the microphone like this? How does it? Oh, no, okay, I'm fine.
Mr. Humeniuk, you yourself are different from so many English teachers in this school. It's like, when you walk into every other class, you see just regular English stuff about verbs and nouns and adjectives and whatnot. But as soon as somebody walks into your classroom, you see comic books, Star Wars, Star Trek, stuff that gets people interested and very intrigued. So the question I have to ask you, Mr. Humeniuk, is at what age were you I am now interested in this stuff? And just a question, for an icebreaker, what character in either Star Wars, Star Trek, or any cartoon would you say you would relate to the very most?
Man, okay, I like this. I love Star Wars from the moment I saw it as a kid. My hometown was population of 300 people when I was super young.
Right.
So we'd have to go to the library down the road to check out movies. And so I was like, oh, I want to watch Return of the Jedi, which is the third original Star Wars movie. And I watched it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Are there more? And then I had to go backwards to Empire Strikes Back and then the original Star Wars. So I saw the movies in reverse, but I was like, oh, cool. I love lightsabers. Laser swords are great. I got into Star Trek a little later because I even knew as a young kid, Star Trek's for nerds. But when it became apparent to me that I am a nerd, actually. I have asthma. These things are true. Then I was like, okay, let's give this a try. And I think the character that I most vibe with in Star Trek is it's the bald British dude. The actor is Sir Patrick Stewart. The character is a guy named Captain Picard, and he is one of the starship captains on Star Trek. And Picard tries to lead by getting his people to talk about the problems they're facing, so the best ideas get on the table, and they can solve a problem together. And I've always liked that. And I don't think I'm British, and I don't want to be bald. I like having weird hair, but I think that idea of let's solve problems together, and then maybe we shoot some lasers too. That's always seemed really appealing.
Yeah, for me growing up, I did watch Star Wars a little bit. Yep. It was the Clone Wars. It was a series on Disney XD.
Yep.
But then on my birthday, I don't know what age. I think I was 12 or something. The Force Awakens came out, and I was okay, this is an interesting movie. I should watch it. So seeing Rey and Kylo Ren with his lightsaber, I was I need to get a lightsaber, just pronto. Wherever I can find one is just somewhere I need to get. But for me, if I could relate to cartoon character and whatnot, I would probably relate to the most. I would have to say Jake the dog from Adventure Time. Somebody that is laid back, just staying out the way, but also has people to call, friends and family. Mm-hmm. But would you say yourself it is okay to be a nerd, even though there are multiple archetypes of nerds?
Yeah, I think the reason nerd was a weird thing is because there was a period of time in the mid-20th century. This is totally a nerd answer, by the way. I'm explaining the background. Good Lord.
Right.
But there was a time where showing passion for something was considered inappropriate. We had to manage our emotions. And the biggest thing about being a nerd is you know a lot about a thing and you're stoked. And that means you can be a nerd about your fantasy football lineup and how much you get into the NFL, right? Or you can be a nerd about your crypto portfolio and how you're doing on your day trading. Or you can be a nerd about Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or whatever the traditional things are. So I think, I don't know, I've always been excited about the stuff I've loved. And I think when I got into my teenage years and had some experiences with some summer camps where I saw well-adjusted, confident college students being stoked about things what they were learning, or for me specifically their faith. That's an important thing for me. I was okay, I can be that person too. And I think the more comfortable you are with being yourself, the more you give permission to be comfortable with who they are, even if they're not passionate about the same things.
Exactly. Me personally, I would say it is very much so okay to be a nerd, because I myself admit I am a nerd. Marvel, DC, comics, comic books, especially with anime and playing video games. I am a nerd. I will admit that for as long as I live, and I would say it is okay. And there will be people, trying to shut that down on you, being doing this is weird and whatnot. But it is okay to, express yourself, whether it is, verbally or even much so physically and emotionally with the stuff that you have a passion about. Mm-hmm. So me growing up, it kind of took me a long time to express myself with the things that I'm interested in, with anime, with video games and whatnot, especially when it came to with wearing clothes. And I would guess saying just random movie lines out of nowhere just for fun.
Right.
And people kind of just trying to throw that out. But growing up, I kind of realized that it's okay for me to be myself. It's okay to be a nerd. And I will forever admit that I am, a nerd.
But do you remember what one of those breakthrough moments was? Do you have a core memory where oh man, it's all right for me to talk about how much I'm like, I don't know, into Naruto, or how much I really dig like My Hero Academia or something along those lines.
Yeah, I did kind of have like a breakthrough moment where I was like, maybe I should kind of tune it down, a little bit.
Okay.
But I guess like growing up, seeing other people that have like the same interests as me, if not similar, it's like I feel comfortable around these people. I can be myself.
Yeah.
So just growing up with people that I call friends that are also, nerds just like me as well, it's just like I am now comfortable with who I am.
I like that. And out of that, we get your passion for stuff. We also get like the best dressed person on campus. Like I am continually in awe of what you pull off with your fits, man. Because like your menswear game is so strong.
I try my best with my outfits. So,
Yeah.
but I see a lot of other people with outfits. So a lot of people I come across in school, they kind of dress similar to others. So I'm just thinking like, okay, maybe I should be different from everyone else. So I started, I guess, showing up to school wearing suits and dressing more formally and more casually, I think around 8th grade year or so. So it was okay for me to be myself and to dress the way I wanted to dress as long as it made me happy.
There's this movie producer named Brian Grazer, and he works with a director named Ron Howard a lot. Grazer like has this like crazy head of like, it looks like he like touched an electric socket. Like his hair is wild, right? Wild. And someone once asked him like, why do you keep your hair so crazy? And he was like, because it makes people look at me. And when someone's paying attention to me, then I've got a chance to lead.
Right.
And I'm kind of wondering with you, Master, like your comfort in standing out and how you carry that outwardly and inwardly. I wonder if that gives you that room for like someone to take a look and then for you to like take a lead. I think you've got it.
I hope so, because as soon as I wear like these formal outfits, like these casual outfits, it gives me like so much of a boost of confidence. It's just like, I feel like I'm on top of the world with the people that I care about. So everywhere I go, wearing these suits, wearing these outfits and accessories, it just makes me feel way better as a person. And especially receiving the compliments from other people too. I don't wear it for attention. I wear it for my own liking and for my own amusement.
That's good. So it's like rooted in what you're enjoying.
Yeah.
And that flows from there.
Yeah, but like, especially like when people walk into your room, first thing that they see is comic books and the Star Trek aircraft figures on the shelves.
Yeah. It's a thing. And I figured like, well, on one hand, I collected this stuff and my house was getting too full and I love my wife and I don't want her to be annoyed with the fact that this stuff's in our house. And so I was like, listen, if I've got this in my classroom, like people are going to know where they stand right off the bat, right? They're going to know like, okay, this dude's into like really nerdy stuff. I do not have to impress this guy. Like I can feel really confident about where I stand from the jump. And I think, my hope is this, like I want kids to learn. And people learn when they feel comfortable and they feel like they can let their guard down, right? If you don't feel like someone's going to attack you or come at you, like you've got some room to maneuver.
Right.
And so if I can put little pieces of myself out there and kind of indicate who I am at first, that's going to build some trust with people who are spending time in the room with me. And they can let their guard down and they can feel like they can trust and try some things out too. And so hopefully that all works together. If someone bumped one of my like spaceships and they broke, I'd be sad. And then I'd go on eBay and try to find another one for like stupid money maybe. But I think it all serves a big general purpose, and hopefully people do feel like they can bring themselves in too once they see that stuff there.
Right. So it's like also too, like you also have like mangas in your little library area too, just for, the anime fans that want to read the books. I myself have read a few in your classroom as well.
Yep.
Then you also noticed about me reading Akira. That was from the library.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you yourself are an anime nerd, correct?
So to some degree, right, my exposure to anime has been kind of limited. Really, Master, this is kind of shameful, but like I've done like the short stuff like Cowboy Bebop, Neon Genesis Evangelion, but like I've tried to start a Full Metal Brotherhood Alchemist and like did not go the distance, right? I did not get through Attack on Titan. Like there are these really long series that like I should have probably gotten started with, but just haven't made the time for. So I wonder, like, do you have any advice for me in that regard?
The advice I give for somebody come from watching long anime series, come from myself watching Dragon Ball Z, and I think I watched a little bit of One Piece growing up. I'd probably say is, make up time for it. If it's times where it will get, barely interesting, you're just like, what is taking so long? Because, filler episodes.
Right.
But I'd probably say, like, make the best out of it. Talk to people about it. Ask for help and like it's like pay attention to what's going on in the episodes just so it can be more funny and more interesting.
So it kind of sounds like you're saying the more people you have to talk to about a show, like the more that gives you momentum for
like the more interesting it gets.
Okay, I like that idea. It's like having a book. This is a terrible comparison. It's like having a book club. around a TV show. But I mean, that kind of is that, right? Like you're talking about and getting excited about the things you like.
Yeah, like a book can be interesting though too. Like you got book nerds, like but when people think of a nerd, they think of like academics.
For sure.
Yeah, but like there's different types of nerds though, especially with like people playing Dungeons and Dragons and reading comic books, mangas, playing video games, especially. You even got people that are nerds when it comes to like about cars.
Oh, for sure.
Like there's a history teacher that I have in my class. He
Mr. Rogers,
is
right?
He's a car fanatic.
Absolutely.
And that shows that it is okay to express yourself, because in his classroom he expressed himself with Star Wars and like little Hot Wheels cars, and in your room you express yourself with Star Trek figures and comic books and mangas.
Yeah.
So walking into both classrooms, it made me feel more comfortable about myself and thinking, okay, it is okay for me to express myself and to be a nerd without other people trying to shut that down.
That's the goal. Absolutely. I love that.
Yes, sir.
And I love that Mr. Rogers is doing that for you too. That's really cool.
Yes, sir. So do you have any like quotes or any final words before we end this episode off?
You know what? I think here's the thing that's sticking to my brain recently. I was reading an article this morning about how like students' reading proficiency has like gotten lower across the U.S. even though we've been trying these interventions for multiple years. And this will tie in, I promise it will. But like one of the things y'all do in my classroom is y'all read to start the class off. You pick a book and you spend some time reading. And you've said how you've read like manga and anime, or manga volumes specifically. You haven't read anime, you watch anime.
Right.
But you've been reading some of those comics. And so one way that you encourage me, Master, is that I see you pursuing a kind of reading that you like, reading these comics that are like so well told from Japan that are translated for us. and I know that's building the kind of reading life for you that's going to make you strong, that's going to add to the passions and the leadership that you've already got, and it's going to make you successful. So when I see this national news about reading rates falling, I'm like, oh, that's sad. I'm an English teacher. I think about a student like you who is engaging with reading in a way that he loves, and you're tying it back to your passions, and I'm like, that's the goal. That's what I want people to do, and Master gets it. And so I'm really appreciative you've got that, man.
Thank you, sir. Yep. But my final words to everyone before this episode ends is you have so much passion to this world that not many of us are able to even understand. So much talent and even a way to express yourself that makes people surround yourself thinking, I want to be around this person. So what that is saying is have people in your life that you can call your friends, and then have closer people in your life that you can call your family.
That's a good word, man. I like that.
Yes, sir. This has been High School Talk. It has been an honor to have you on this episode with us, Mr. Humeniuk. Thank you so much. I was a little nervous to ask you.
No, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And this has been High School Talk, and we will see y'all next time.